I hadn't planned to wash the car that day. The sun was hanging high, lazy and indifferent, and the yard needed mowing. But when I opened the garage door and saw the dust caked on the car's silver hood, something inside me snapped. Maybe it was a need to do something useful, something productive in a life that felt increasingly empty, or maybe I was trying to avoid the hollow feeling that had been growing between me and Sophie for the past few months. I set the lawnmower aside and grabbed the hose. Sophie had always kept the car spotless. Her pride and joy, a used sedan she'd insisted on getting after we bought our first house. But recently, she'd been too busy for it. Too busy for everything, really. And I had noticed. I wasn't blind. As I started rinsing off the grime, the water beating and slipping down the sides, my mind drifted, as it often did, to the small changes I'd seen in her lately. The late nights at work, the secretive phone calls, the way she now kept her messages locked behind a password I didn't know. I tried to brush it off, to remind myself that stress from work and family stuff could make anyone act distant. But deep down, there was a tight knot in my stomach I couldn't untangle. The car's interior smelled faintly of lavender and something else, something I couldn't place. I tugged at the back seat floor mats to shake out the dirt, and that's when I saw it. A small round button, a man's shirt button. It was navy blue, with a faint stripe running through it, and it looked out of place against the beige upholstery. My first instinct was to shrug it off. Maybe it had fallen off some stranger's clothes during a rideshare or when she picked up groceries. But as I held in my fingers, something shifted in my chest. The button felt heavier than it should have. I turned it over slowly, trying to calm the rapid thudding of my heart. But the more I stared at it, the more I realized I was holding something I shouldn't have. It wasn't just a button. It was a piece of evidence, something that had been left behind, carelessly or maybe intentionally. I stood there for a moment, frozen. 1,000 thoughts screamed in my mind. Is this it? Am I finally confronting the truth? But I wasn't ready. Not yet. I couldn't be. I picked up my phone, my hands trembling. I wanted to call her to ask, but I didn't. I was afraid of what I might hear. The button in my hand was already too much. I needed to know the whole story, or else the question would haunt me for the rest of my life. Instead of calling, I shoved the button in my pocket and finished washing the car. I didn't know if I was doing it to distract myself or to buy time before I confronted her. Maybe both. It wasn't until that evening when Sophie came home that I knew I had to ask. She walked in, tired but smiling, like nothing was wrong. Her hair was pulled back in a loose bun, her cheeks flushed from the cool air outside, and she kissed me quickly on the cheek before heading for the kitchen. How was work? I asked, my voice tight. Busy, she said, glancing back at me. Same old. You? I couldn't look her in the eyes. My hands fidgeted with the button in my pocket. I knew what I had to do. I found something today. My voice cracked, the words tasting foreign in my mouth. In the backseat of the car, Sophie's face faltered for a split second before she composed herself. What do you mean? I pulled the button out of my pocket and dropped it onto the kitchen counter between us. The silence stretched thin, taut like a wire. Sophie stared at it, her face turning pale. Her breath hitched. Where did you find that? I swallowed hard, trying to steady my nerves. In the back seat, right under the floor mats. She didn't speak at first. Instead, she reached the button, her fingers shaking. I couldn't tear my eyes away. The image of her holding that button felt like the final piece of a puzzle I hadn't known how to solve. Whose was it, Sophie? I asked, my voice lower now, raw. Whose was it? Her lips quivered, and I could see the struggle on her face. The conflict between the truth and the lies she'd built around us. She started, her voice barely a whisper. I wasn't planning on telling you, but it's been going on for a while now. I've been seeing someone else. I felt the air leave my lungs, as though the words had knocked the wind out of me. My legs gave way, and I stumbled back against the counter. The room was spinning, and for a long moment, I couldn't hear anything but the pounding of my heart. I couldn't find the words to finish the sentence. How long? She wouldn't look at me. A few months, she whispered. It just happened. I never meant for it to go this far. 1,000 emotions tore through me: anger, betrayal, grief. But above all, there was a crushing sadness. All the years, all the quiet sacrifices I'd made, all the small things that I thought mattered, now felt like they meant nothing. "I didn't want to hurt you," she continued, her voice breaking. "I never wanted you to find out this way." The room felt like it was closing in around me. I couldn't breathe. My hands shook as I balled them into fists, the button pressing painfully against my palm. I wanted to scream, to run, to break something. But all I could do was stand there, staring at her, at the woman I had loved, now a stranger. I forced myself to speak, my voice hollow. "Who is he?" She didn't answer right away, her eyes filling with tears. Finally, she choked out, "His name is Tom." I thought I needed something else. Something I wasn't getting here. I turned away then, unable to look at her any longer. The silence between us was suffocating. I couldn't stay. Not anymore. Not after this. I grabbed my jacket and walked out of the house, leaving her standing in the kitchen, still holding the button. The evening sky was darkening, but all I could see was a cold, empty space between us.